My mommy says angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they just sit down next to you when you're scared. The small voice pierced through the November afternoon like a fragile bird's song, stopping Bennett Kavanaugh mid-stride on the park path. He turned, his hand instinctively tightening around his daughter Iris's small fingers, and saw her, a little girl sitting alone on a weathered wooden bench, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old, with dark curls escaping from lopsided pigtails and a jacket 2 sizes too big, swallowing her tiny frame. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she clutched a tattered coloring book to her chest, her small legs dangling several inches above the ground. No adult was visible anywhere nearby. Bennett's CEO instincts, the ones honed through years of making split-second decisions worth millions, screamed caution. Don't get involved, find park security, protect yourself from liability. But his father's heart, the one shattered 2 years ago when his wife Melissa died during surgery, saw only a terrified child who needed help. "Sweetheart," he said gently, crouching down to her eye level while keeping a respectful distance. "Are you okay? Where's your grown-up?" The little girl hiccuped, wiping her nose on her oversized sleeve. "Mommy went to get us lunch from the food truck, but I can't see her anymore, and I got scared," and her voice dissolved into fresh tears. Iris, Bennett's own 4-year-old daughter, pulled free from his hand and approached the crying girl with the fearless compassion only children possess. "Don't cry," she said softly, her voice carrying the gentle wisdom she'd somehow developed since losing her mother. "Crying makes your heart hurt more. I know because I cry lots sometimes too." The little girl looked up, her wet eyes meeting Iris's solemn gaze. Something passed between them, an understanding that transcended words, the recognition of shared pain that even the very young can sense in each other. "What's your name?" Iris asked, sitting down beside her on the bench. "Magnolia, but everyone calls me Maggie." She sniffled, her tears beginning to slow. "What's yours?" "Iris, like the flower. My mommy loved flowers before she—" Iris's voice wavered, but she pressed on with remarkable courage. "Before she went to heaven. But my daddy says she's still with us, just in a different way." Bennett's throat constricted painfully. His daughter's resilience never ceased to amaze him and break him in equal measure. Maggie's eyes widened. "Your mommy's in heaven too?" "Yeah, she got really sick and the doctors couldn't fix her." Iris reached out tentatively, patting Maggie's hand the way Bennett often patted hers during difficult moments. "But it's okay to be sad. Daddy says feelings are like weather, sometimes stormy, sometimes sunny, but they always change if you wait." Bennett watched this exchange with wonder, seeing his daughter comfort a stranger with wisdom far beyond her years. He scanned the park again, spotting a woman running frantically toward them, her face etched with panic. "Maggie! Oh God, Maggie!" The woman practically flew across the grass, dropping the lunch bag she'd been carrying. She scooped the little girl into her arms, holding her so tightly Maggie squeaked. "I told you to stay right by the bench. I couldn't see you from the food line, and I thought... "I'm sorry, Mommy," Maggie whispered against her mother's shoulder. "I got scared when I couldn't see you, but then Iris came and she made me feel better." The woman, clearly Maggie's mother, looked up at Bennett with tear-filled eyes that held exhaustion deeper than simple fatigue. She appeared to be in her late 20s, with the same dark curls as her daughter and clothes that, while clean, showed signs of heavy wear. Her hands trembled as she held Maggie. "Thank you," she breathed. "Thank you for staying with her. The line was longer than I thought, and I couldn't leave our spot or I'd lose our place, and—" She stopped, seeming to realize she was explaining herself to a stranger. "It's okay," Bennett said gently. "I'm Bennett. This is my daughter Iris. We're just glad Maggie's safe." "I'm Celeste Warren." She set Maggie down carefully, smoothing her daughter's hair with shaking hands. "We come here every Saturday. It's our special time together, just the two of us. I work 2 jobs during the week, so Saturdays are when I get to be just Mom." Something in her tone resonated with Bennett. He recognized the guilt of a parent who felt they were never enough, the weight of trying to be 2 parents in one body. Iris tugged on Bennett's jacket. "Daddy, can Maggie play with us? We were going to feed the ducks." Iris saw the flash of longing in Maggie's eyes, quickly followed by resignation as she looked at her mother. Celeste's expression was complex, hope warring with something that looked like shame. "We wouldn't want to intrude," Celeste said quietly. "You've already been so kind." "Please, Mommy," Maggie's voice was small but full of hope. "I've never had a real birthday party with friends before." Celeste's eyes met Bennett's, and he saw his own pain reflected back. The loneliness of single parenthood, the constant fear of failing your child, the exhaustion of carrying grief while pretending to be strong. "We'd love the company," Bennett said softly. "Honestly, these park visits can feel long when it's just the two of us, and Iris, she doesn't have many friends." It wasn't entirely true. Iris attended an exclusive preschool where playdates were meticulously scheduled by nannies and assistants. But real friendship, the organic kind that happened naturally, that was rare in their carefully controlled world. They spent the next hour together. The girls fed ducks from the bread Bennett had brought, climbed on the playground equipment with Celeste and Bennett hovering protectively nearby, and drew pictures on Maggie's coloring book pages spread across a picnic table. Bennett learned that Celeste was a night shift nurse at County General and worked weekends at a medical clinic. Maggie's father had left when she was 6 months old, disappearing completely from their lives. Celeste's parents had passed away before Maggie was born, leaving her entirely alone to navigate parenthood. "I'm sorry," Celeste said suddenly, as if embarrassed by sharing so much. "You don't need to hear all this." "I understand more than you might think," Bennett replied. He'd been careful not to reveal his identity, the CEO of Kavanaugh Technologies, one of the region's largest employers. Here, in worn jeans and his daughter's hand-me-down sweatshirt from her cousin, he was just Bennett, just a dad. Losing Melissa, becoming the only parent, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I have help, family, resources. I can't imagine doing it completely alone. Celeste's eyes glistened. "Some days I feel like I'm drowning, like I'm failing her every day. She deserves so much more than—" She stopped, glancing at Maggie, who was showing Iris how to draw a butterfly. "She deserves exactly what she has, a mother who loves her enough to work 2 jobs, who brings her to the park on her only day off instead of sleeping, who runs across a park in pure terror at the thought of losing her. Maggie knows she's loved, Celeste. That's what matters most." The conversation was interrupted by Iris's excited voice. "Daddy, Maggie's birthday is the same week as mine. We're almost twins." Both girls rushed over, their faces glowing with the discovery of this cosmic connection. "Can Maggie come to my birthday party?" Iris asked, her eyes hopeful in a way Bennett hadn't seen since before Melissa's death. He saw Celeste's internal struggle, pride warring with her daughter's happiness. Bennett made a quick decision. "Actually, I have a better idea. What if we celebrated together? A combined birthday party for both girls?" "Oh, we couldn't," Celeste started. "Please, Mommy." Maggie's voice was small but full of hope. "I've never had a real birthday party with friends before."
The admission hung in the air, breaking Bennett's heart. He thought of Iris's upcoming party, planned by event coordinators with hired entertainers, expensive decorations, and children who came because their parents wanted business connections. "Then we definitely should," Bennett said gently. "Something simple. At the park, maybe. Nothing fancy, just cake and games and 2 little girls who deserve to feel special." Over the following weeks, Bennett and Celeste met regularly at the park, their daughters forming a bond that seemed to heal wounds neither parent could reach alone. Iris began smiling more genuinely, talking about Maggie constantly. Maggie grew more confident, her quiet shyness blooming into joyful chatter when Iris was near. Bennett found himself looking forward to Saturdays with an intensity that surprised him, not just for Iris's happiness, but for his own. Celeste was easy to talk to, honest about her struggles in a way people in his corporate world never were. She didn't know about his wealth, his status, his ability to solve her problems with a single check. She just knew Bennett, the grieving father trying to raise his daughter right. He wanted to help her, had drafted a dozen plans to offer her a position at his company, to provide better housing, to ease her burden. But something always stopped him. The fear that revealing his identity would change everything, that Celeste would see him differently, that their friendship would become transactional. The joint birthday party arrived. Bennett had insisted on hosting it at the park, hiring a modest entertainer and ordering simple decorations despite his instinct to create something extravagant. Celeste brought homemade cupcakes decorated with painstaking care, each one a small work of art. Watching the girls blow out their candles together, their faces illuminated by 4 small flames, Bennett felt something shift in his chest. This was what Melissa would have wanted for Iris: genuine friendship, simple joy, connection that wasn't manufactured or controlled. After the party, as they cleaned up together, Celeste touched his arm gently. "Bennett, I need to tell you something. I've been offered a position at a hospital 3 states away. Better pay, better hours, actual benefits." Her voice trembled. "I'd be foolish not to take it, but Maggie, she's never had a friend like Iris, and I've never had—" She stopped, her cheeks coloring. Bennett's world tilted. "When would you leave?" "End of the month. I haven't accepted yet because I keep thinking about what I'd be taking from Maggie, from both of them." "And from us," Bennett said quietly. "What you'd be taking from us." Celeste met his eyes, and he saw his own feelings reflected there, the unexpected tenderness that had grown between 2 wounded people finding their way back to hope. "I need to tell you something too, something I should have mentioned from the start." He took a breath. "My full name is Bennett Kavanaugh. I'm the CEO of Kavanaugh Technologies." Celeste stared at him, confusion crossing her face. You mean the company that built the new medical wing at County General?" "Yes. I didn't tell you because I needed to just be Bennett, just a dad, not the guy who could solve problems with money." He ran a hand through his hair. "But I can't let you leave without offering you something. Not charity, a genuine opportunity. We're opening a corporate wellness center. We need a lead nurse who understands working parents, who has compassion, who can build a program from the ground up. The salary is competitive, the hours are reasonable, and there's on-site childcare." "Bennett, I can't," he interrupted gently, though they both knew it was. "It's not about us. It's about you deserving better than killing yourself with 2 jobs. It's about Maggie deserving a mother who isn't exhausted every moment. It's about—" his voice roughened. "It's about 2 little girls who found each other, and 2 adults who maybe found something too." Celeste's eyes filled with tears. "What are we doing, Bennett?" "I think we're healing," he said softly. "I think we're learning that it's okay to lean on someone again, that asking for help isn't weakness, that sometimes the kindest thing we can do is let ourselves be helped." 3 months later, Celeste started at Kavanaugh Technologies. She and Maggie moved into a small house Bennett helped her find, not purchased by him despite his offers, but simply discovered through his connections and secured by her own new salary. The girls were inseparable now, attending the same preschool, having sleepovers that filled Bennett's too quiet house with giggles and whispered secrets. Bennett and Celeste's friendship deepened slowly, carefully, built on mutual respect and shared experience rather than grand gestures. One evening, picking up Maggie from a playdate, Bennett found Bennett and the girls in the backyard. Iris was showing Maggie how to plant flower seeds in small pots, irises and magnolias, carefully chosen. "Maggie," Iris said seriously, "when these grow, they'll bloom at the same time, just like we found each other at the right time." Maggie nodded, her small hand gentle with the soil. "My mommy says that's how angels work. They bring people together when they need each other most." Bennett looked up, meeting Celeste's eyes across the garden. She smiled, the genuine, unguarded smile he'd come to treasure. "Your mommy's right," he said softly. "Sometimes angels sit on benches. Sometimes they offer friendship when 2 people are scared. Sometimes they teach us that it's okay to stop carrying everything alone."
That evening, after Celeste and Maggie had gone home, Iris climbed into Bennett's lap for their bedtime routine. "Daddy, I'm glad we found Maggie that day." "Me too, sweetheart." "Do you think your mommy sent her to us so we wouldn't be so sad all the time?" Bennett's throat tightened. "I think your mommy would love knowing that we opened our hearts to people who needed us and who we needed too." "I love Maggie and I love Miss Celeste. Is that okay?" "That's more than okay, Iris. That's beautiful. Love doesn't run out when we share it. It multiplies. It grows like the flowers we planted." As he tucked his daughter in, watching her clutch the drawing Maggie had made her, Bennett thought about that November afternoon, about a little girl crying on a bench, and how stopping to help had transformed all their lives. Kindness doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting beside someone who's scared, offering friendship to a stranger, opening your heart when it feels safer to stay closed. We never know whose life we'll touch by choosing compassion over convenience, connection over caution. The smallest gesture, a moment of presence, a word of comfort, an offer of friendship can become the foundation of healing we didn't know we desperately needed. Love shared is never diminished. It multiplies into gardens we never imagined planting.
If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.